Hi, welcome to Executive Care. This again is our featured house for September. We are now doing part 2, and in the article there are certain specific things I mentioned. Last month's video, we talked about the construction and how we had to deal with the slope by building a block wall. This month I want to talk more about the design challenges that I had and looking at this yard. So behind me you see all this. Being a corner yard, this is part of this home. And I wanted to find a way to divide the new stuff from the old stuff. And so in trying to deal with the side yard as being an issue, trying to deal with a disproportionate amount of space on this side of the yard, I wanted the eye to go to the front of the house. And so by creating this stream bed was one way that I thought of dividing the older part of the yard from the newer part. The plants that we planted along here are going to be not as tall as what's behind me, obviously, because that would be too big. But they're like a transition between tall, medium, and low. So these are potentillas, and they're going to grow about half the size of these plants. But from this we have the stream bed, which we've created, which worked out really good. And this was actually our first time creating a stream bed that went from one end of the yard to the other end of the yard. And because we had this space in here, we created a little like alcove, or like the starting point of the stream bed. If you were to imagine it, this is kind of where it starts, and then it spreads out down the way. And so that stream bed helped as a transition between the older part of the yard to the newer part of the yard. And then because there was so much space here, and the client wanted lawn, we decided to put the lawn in this area. That way we're using up space. We're not putting plants in this area that would offset the weight or the view of the yard to this side of the yard where we don't want the attention as much. So by putting the lawn here, that kind of gives it a nice soft look, and it allows the action, in a sense, of the yard. As you pan down that way, you can see that that's the side of the yard that's going to draw your eye. That's the heavier part of the yard. So again, in the last video of last month, we talked about the fire hydrant. Again, problems are opportunities for creativity. So every yard has this problem. This had many. This was how we solved this, and I mentioned that in the last video. So the rest of the yard, as we transition this way, these are the different plants we've used. We've talked about the Daesalerium wheeleri, Mexican grass palm, cool accent palm, hard to find, really hard to find. Coleonema we use almost in all our jobs because of its bright yellow and feathery color. This is Jerusalem sage. It freezes down, not completely, but it comes down in the wintertime, and it's done blooming. But this, you can kind of see a little bit of the shape of the flower. They're bright yellow. They go in late spring, and they kind of hook down. I jokingly always tell my clients, if there was a flower on the moon, it would be the Jerusalem sage. It's really unusual. We mentioned jelly palms in the last video, and then the combination of dwarf pomegranates. And this guy right in here is this pretty blue flower. This is the plumbago. It's a crazy plant. It loves to grow. I shared with the client that of all the plants, this is the one that he's going to have to keep trimmed. But the beautiful blue flower is worth it. It fits so nice in this theme. It's just a really nice blue. So I'm really happy with that. And then we talked about the walkway last time. And this is a little island now that was created. And so you can see the slope that we were dealing with. So we just took the wall all the way up the driveway until it disappeared. This little sewer thing was kind of an issue. So by dealing with this sewer thing, we put a rock there so it looked like it was part of the landscape, and we didn't have to try to cut the blocks to go around it. We just used the boulders. So that worked out really nice. And then we had to match the other side. And this is the other side. So we just continued the wall until it just disappeared, like the other side, until you get to grade. And we landscaped this side just as much as the other side, which is a pet peeve of mine. It's always the right side of the driveway, or the side that's least viewed, is like the stepchild. It gets ignored. But this has to balance with the other side. So here we have this, And then we have another plumbago just doing great over here. It has a little bit of more shade, so it's just happy as heck. Another kangaroo paw on this side. And this is this side yard. So the last part of this is the courtyard. The courtyard is, a lot of courtyards tend to be plain. They wanted a certain amount of space. And so what we did was all the cement that they had was just the plain driveway cement. It was broken out. We created a little side planter bed here for it. This little fountain is perfect. And I'm not so much referring to design, though I like the design quite a bit, but the sound. It's not too loud. It's not too soft. So you can hear it. I love it. I think the sound is just perfect. Kind of a Mediterranean theme here. And that's obviously the front door. And that's their little coffee table for the morning. So this is the courtyard, and this is where we end this feature for this month. Hope you enjoyed it. October we'll be starting back to we've been doing a lot of big jobs. We'll be discussing those challenges of those jobs. But I thank you for your business, and you guys have a good fall. Take care, bye-bye.